Hello, strangers and friends. This is Icarus, back with a couple of minor announcements for this episode as well. You might notice some differences in audio quality for certain parts of today's episode. That's because we had to do reshoots for a multitude of different reasons, but we all have different audio equipment now than we did when we filmed, so our audio quality is going to differ sometimes. Hopefully it's not too jarring. We just wanted to offer a little bit of an update so that it's not completely out of the blue. That's it. Enjoy the episode.
What now lies in wait to be discovered in the tales of D'aowVern.
Hello, strangers and friends, to the Strangers Guild live stream, and I'm so excited to show y'all what we have for today. That being said, do we have someone who wants to recap?
I feel like together we could figure it all out.
Let's tag team it.
Yeah. We got an introduction of all of our lovely characters. Nortia was in the dream world and a shipwreck was happening. And then there was a cool dragon in the sky made out of stars. And then we went to is it Dianthus? How do you say it? Dianthus. We went to Dianthus, and they were on the moon. What was that?
Dianthus was awoken from some sort of slumber, where you were immediately confronted by the literal humanoid embodiment of death, and Bianca, who is an unknown at the moment. A quick scuffle ensued, and then you were flung to the island. That was, of course, about 100 years ago. We then came to today, where we had some shenanigans happen. Some of you had pretty typical, customers. You got some pets. A bunch of stuff happened.
Yeah, Yarrow's getting sucked by the big lady. God, I wish that was me. That's what's going on right now.
Okay, there we go. Now that we are caught up, Yarrow. If you remember, at this moment, you are being held by your face by a very tall woman you've never seen before. What is going through your head in this moment?
Can I see this, or was it just Dianthus?
So, based off of a couple rolls, Yarrow at this point can see them. Dianthus can see them. Nortia, Lady Anne, we're going to need to do a couple rolls to see if they are fully in tune to what's happening right now. But yes, Yarrow can see this tall woman.
See before. Mm-hmm. Now can.
Yep.
Just immediately terrified. Because I assume you're like, she's doing something, and I assume feels like dying.
Very Dementor-esque. Like, you can feel the time and the youth being like sucked from you in this moment. You can almost feel the skin on your cheeks getting a little more rigid, a little more stress to your bones, that sort of thing. However, in this moment, Yarrow can respond however you wish.
First instinct is going to be to just try to grab the hand and just start kicking.
Okay.
Get her to let him go.
Can you give me a strength check?
Oh no. Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. That's 16.
Oh, okay.
Thank
for those of you who don't know, Yarrow isn't incredibly strong, but in this moment, you're actually able, with panicked energy, to push yourself away, and you actually fall to the ground. And as you do, you realize that this opposing figure has shrunk down to meet your height a little bit. Very much more, probably in between 5'10" to 6'5" or something. But at this point, Yarrow is trying to get away from this person. And what I'm going to do, before I do what a lot of you think I might be about to do, I'm going to go on my end, left to right, and I'm going to give each person one action before we get into this. And it could range from talking or interacting with something. You can do any sort of check. Starting with Dianthus, you are seeing this. You, as we have talked out of session, are acutely aware of how unready you are for this situation. But what would you like to do in this moment?
Is there anything around me that I could grab and throw at her that's going to do some damage?
Give me a perception check.
Damn, hold on. I got to do math. 21.
21. So, as far as you said you're looking for something to damage Bianca.
That I can throw or just use, because I don't have my sword on me, to hit her. Yeah,
So,
I don't know how far away I am from her, so something with range would be preferred.
So, on a 21, I will say there's not a weapon in your immediate vicinity, but you do see three things. Probably about 10, 15 feet away from you, there is the lever that controls the stage. If you remember from last session, I explained that the Tipsy Scale stage is meant for any sort of, combat performance as far as, arts, that sort of thing. But there's also a panel that opens the floor up because there is water under this bar. So you do see that lever. You also see to your left on the other side, there is a rope holding up the chandelier. And then outside, you see that the doors are open. You see Gunnar with his great sword, and I believe Nortia. You're outside as well, right? You see them outside, but you don't see a weapon. You also see Cal at this point holding Emrys.
Does Cal have... He has a sword, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have it?
Mm-hmm.
How far away is he from me?
At this point, y'all are watching the performance. Melee range, 5 to 10 feet. Pretty close.
Is it unsheathed? Is he holding the sword? Or is it still...
He's holding the child brother
Emerald
of Yarrow. Yes, so he is not.
I would love... I'm just not going to say anything, I think, at first. I'm going to go to him.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take his sword out of the sheath. And I'm going to just, hand on shoulder, you get him back to the church and get my armor.
All right.
I am not negotiating. Go.
Okay. Without a second word, he picks up Emrys, starts to run. He does give Yarrow a glance. Yarrow, your action at this point. You see Cal holding your brother. Do you say anything, or are you focused on something else? What do you think your action is at this moment?
I think it's still just initial panic of what the fuck, catching his breath. Probably looks over to make sure if anyone else is seeing that, and just will make a go motion towards Cal to get his brother away from the scary lady.
Gotcha. Give me an insight check, Yarrow.
That I'm okay at. Never mind. That's a 10.
It's a 10. Cal books it towards the other members of the group, but you do catch a glance from Bianca, who is no longer looking at you and looking at your brother and Cal, who are leaving. Nortia, as Cal is leaving with this child, what do you do?
That's a great question. Do I see the kicking and that kind of movement going on, or do I only see Cal running out with the child?
Are you talking about, did you see Yarrow?
Yes.
Yes. Because the doors were open, so you did see that whole thing. You didn't hear anything.
Okay.
But you do see the booking.
And I don't see Mommy Red.
Give me an Arcana check.
Okay.
That's her new name.
Please.
21.
21. Okay. So, Nortia, if you remember when the light came down and Bianca came into the setting, you felt a bit of that familiarity, of that power you felt when you were in that dreamscape on the ship. And in this moment, you see an astral form start to take place. And you do see the shrinking version of Bianca. At first she was standing probably about 10 feet tall. Now more common height. And as everything starts to form, like it's almost as if you've seen the rendering of a computer screen, it's a little blurry for a moment, but then it's sharp focus, and you see this woman dead stare looking straight at Cal and Emrys, who are leaving. So yes, now you are able to see Bianca.
We have our abilities now, right?
You do.
Okay. Nortia, seeing Cal starting out with the child with Emrys, and seeing Bianca, is going to, in kind of a panic, not knowing that this is something she can, but she was like, I wish I could get them out of their sight. And when she does that, her like writing utensils start to like glow.
Okay.
And the glow from the utensil comes off of her pouch and goes in front of Bianca's face. I would like to cast dancing lights in front of Bianca to try and blind her, to get them out of their sight.
Gotcha. And for dancing lights, is there a roll for that, or is it just...
No, it is just a cantrip.
Cool. And I think that's going to be your turn for now. Fun stuff. I am going to make note of that for Bianca. Lady M, so you're actually very close to everything, but if you can also give me an Arcana check.
Sorry, one more time. Arcana check?
Yes.
Well, it's really good. That's not terrible. That's a 14.
You see everything that happens, everything that we've recounted so far with Yarrow, except you don't see what's causing it. So Yarrow just kind of like levitates. The same effects happen. Yarrow's kicking. Nortia actually throws the light, and for a second you think that it's coming at you. And then right as the lights hit Bianca, you're able to see, it's almost as if the shadow forms first, because it does. The shadow of the light silhouettes what's happening, and then standing in front of you is Bianca with the lights going off.
So knowing that there is something causing this, and knowing that my friends are in trouble, as like she's watching all this happen, her hand is going under like the fold of her skirt, and as soon as she sees the like illumination of Bianca, Em is gonna try and take her dagger out and get Bianca in the side of the neck.
All right.
If she has a physical form for me to hit, I suppose.
Give me an attack roll.
Okay.
I will say the dancing lights here will give you advantage.
Slay. Love to hear
just
it.
because it gives you the target. You know what you're hitting now.
Okay. 19 to hit.
19 does hit.
Yes. Awesome.
What is the damage on that?
What a great question. It's 1d4 plus 4, and it's a dagger of venom. So we're also going to pump some poison in there. So, okay. That is a 2 plus 4 is a 6. And then it's 2d10 poison damage. And she makes the Constitution save, which is 15.
She does make the save.
Okay, so half that. So 10, half of 10 is 5. So she gets 11 damage.
Okay,
total.
so 5 poison damage.
Yes.
I will say, because you have attacked Bianca, I will need each of you to roll initiative.
Sorry, team.
So, if you got a 20 or higher, let me know. 15 to 20. Dianthus?
16.
Let's see. 10 to 15. Yara?
I had a 10.
Gotcha.
-1 to initiative.
The girl bosses, please.
Beneath a 10, then. That leaves 2 of you, right?
Yeah.
What did y'all get?
Oh no, you got
A 5?
I got an 8.
Okay. So that means that Nortia, and then wrapping up player initiative will be Lady M. Bianca does go first. Dianthus, you will recognize the lines of the cuts that you took off of Bianca, and her body dematerializes for a moment. And in the upstairs level of the Tipsy Scale steps out a all-black version of Bianca. Same outfit, all black robes, dark, again, very deep space obsidian level to her eyes. standing in the middle of the stage, Bianca, in red, but a much more bright, more orange, more fiery red. And then at the door, behind all of you, is a version of Bianca in all white. So there are 3 of her now. You see around the stage is starting to form a ring of fire. Lady M and Yarrow are standing within this circle. It's starting from behind her. So it's almost, if you were to look at me, the ring is starting this way and coming out.
Yarrow, at this moment, holding your brother, you and Cal make eye contact. You don't know him as well as some of the other people in this tavern, but you feel a sense of relief, encouragement, as you feel bardic inspiration.
Dianthus.
Which of these lovely ladies is closest to me right now?
I will say probably, so you were off stage. There, on a little bit behind you, there's a staircase. The woman in black on the upper floor is real close.
I'll take her alone. Sure.
Okay. And to be clear, you have the sword, right?
I have Cal's sword, yeah.
Gotcha. As you walk up the stairs, if you could give me an Arcana check.
How does a 4 sound?
A 4 sounds interesting in this case. Something you may have noticed, whenever you first picked up the sword, it was glowing a light blue. But as you have started to, Bianca's just been hit, split into 3, Dianthus is able to clock the woman upstairs. As you start to walk, a necrotic energy crawls up the blade, and your hands start to turn a very ghostly gray. It doesn't damage you, but it does give a little bit of a burn, a cold, a sense of death as you approach the woman. What do you do?
Is she near a wall, perchance?
She is.
Yeah, I'd like to charge and try to pin her to the wall. I got some questions for her.
Okay, so give me, in that case, I'll say that's an acrobatics.
19.
19, fantastic, cool. So as you go up the stairs, for those of you who happen to be watching Dianthus in this moment, the shadows that are naturally on the wall are being fused to Dianthus's gate. So as they walk up the stairs, the shadows that are coming from the fire in the middle of the tavern at this point are disappearing and flowing into Dianthus in this moment. As this happens, you push this dark Bianca against the wall, and what do you do?
Well, I like, sword to neck kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here?
Her eyes roll back a little bit, and for a split second, you remember the night on Obus. Can you give me a wisdom saving throw? 16. So you remember the moment where Bianca on the moon kissed you on your chest, and that mark that lay dormant for about 100 years. In this moment, everyone else sees Dianthus and this Bianca figure disappear.
Bye! Peace out!
And we're going to come back to Dianthus on their next turn in initiative.
Perfect.
Lady M, it's not your turn in initiative. However, Red Bianca is going to lash out at you. Does a 14 hit your armor class?
Yes, of course it does.
Really? Okay.
Oh, I lied. It doesn't. I am a liar. It's actually 16. No, it does not.
Okay, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure. Red Bianca, or Redder Bianca, or Fiery Bianca, however you would like to call her, pulls out not a blade, but from her fingers extends a flame. And as she lunges at you, she does miss, and Lady M, with a poise that fits your stature, sidestep, and Bianca's hand with the fiery blade plunges into the rail of the side of the stage. and she's stuck for a moment. That being said, with that, you don't take any damage. That was her turn for this moment. People start booking. All the younger clientele, because even though this is a tavern, the Breakone event is a family affair of sorts. So, kids are leaving, some of the retired people. However,
depending on how caught up each of you are in this moment with all of the insanity that's happening, some, or all of you maybe, notice patrons of the bar. Not quite patrons, though, as these black hoods are raised and these masks that seem to be matching, but each with a different constellation across where you would assume the eyes to be. As Yarrow, this ceremony, this effect that Bianca has introduced seems to be in full support with what appear to be cultists and what some of you would know to be the ecliptics.
So the next cultist at this point is probably closer to the stage, right outside of the ring of fire. And you see that this guy actually has a light blue glow to his hand, and you see that this guy is discovering that he has a magical ability. Yarrow, it is your turn.
Okay, so I was closest to the red version of her.
Yes.
I think, as he's moving to kind of start to get up and run, it's just a trying to get further away and just, get her away. And I'm gonna do a little cast of Frostbite, presuming she's still close.
Okay, yeah. No, go for it.
Okay, so I need a con save. Oh, sorry, 13.
13. She fails the save.
That is 5 for cold damage.
5 cold damage. Okay. So, Yarrow, that is the first time that you've actually produced magic. What do you think their response to this blast is?
Surprised. I think it's just looks at his hand, looks back up at her, and that was from me. That was from me. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Gotcha. As this happens, you notice that the aging that had happened earlier, the ice that you had produced kind of dries on your face, and as it starts to melt off, you regain your earlier form. Your youth is back, and you realize that was more of a ritual that was interrupted. So Yarrow is able to step away in this moment, but you're okay for now.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to use the bardic inspiration that Cal gave me to dash.
Cool. So Yarrow, with that dash, you're able to get anywhere you want in the tavern.
So we have the fiery lady, and I assume the exit, there's another lady.
Yes.
And then there's that lady disappeared.
You see in the top corner where Dianthus was with the other woman, it is entirely black. Not dark. Not, the fire is casting a shadow up there. There is no escapable light from that solid 15 square foot area of the second floor.
Oh no.
What the fuck?
I don't know. He's just gonna try and get away to a spot where there aren't directly any of the ladies right next to him, I guess. So whatever area that would be.
Gotcha. In that case, the most safe position, Yarrow escapes the circle with that dash, and you get to the side of the bar where you see Gon Kui stepping over, and with a bit of a snarl, but a sense of cockiness, puts their staff that they have and just kind of very much court guard, when they put the spear in front, don't go past me type of deal, kind of blocks you from the rest of what's going on, and you are now hidden behind the half-orc, half-elf.
Right. I think he's just this wasn't me. I didn't do this. I swear, I did nothing.
Give me a persuasion check.
12.
12. In this moment, the owner kind of, because they're a little bit taller than you, kind of cheats their hip a little bit, gets down on your level, and gives you a light smack on the cheek. It's like, don't worry, you'll work it off, and moves further on into the bar. It's not their turn because of what happened on Dianthus's. Nortia.
I have a couple quick questions. Does magical fire work the same as regular fire? For example, like extinguishers, right? So like sand extinguishes fire. Nortia does have a pouch of sand in her bag, so I didn't know if that like magical fire.
So because this is very new to your character and to the world, like, you know, naturally, yes, sand puts out fires. But because this is all very new, Nortia, if you could give me either Arcana or Nature check.
Arcana, baby. Why did the dice roll so much? That was spooky. 16.
16. So, Nortia, even if you do so, like, pull for the sand in your pocket, you realize, looking at what's happening in the tavern, that there's no fuel to this. It's not as if, you know, something is being caught on fire. There's no wood, no gasoline, nothing like that. So you immediately get the idea of like, this probably won't work.
Okay, got it. And then I'm going to use Mind Link on my buddy Gunner.
Oh, okay.
And inside of Gunner's head, he hears Nortia's voice, and she says, I believe you owe me one, love. You did try to escape, so if you could go ahead and help me take out this lady dressed in white, that would be great.
Gotcha. In that moment, do you think that you and Gunner are on opposite sides of this person? Or is he, like, next to you? Okay. Those of you that can see Gunner's face in this moment, he has a confused, like, who's talking to me? Kind of, like, looks around. And just as he's gonna like shake it off, he does make eye contact with you. There is a nod, and you see him with both hands with the great sword lunge for the lady in white. And he rolled a nat 1. So Gunner go like full on lunging. He was ready. In that moment, he was like, you know what? Time to prove myself. I'm a battle master. I am a fighter. I got this. He apparently was not fully out of the bush. Trips and falls down.
If we were... Oh, is flanking 3? Or is it 2?
Good point. That is better. That's a 19. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Cool.
The one time I remember what flanking is, guys.
There you go. And honestly, I was doing it for more of a narrative element, but the fact that you reminded me is probably good. Because as this happens, he takes the sword. He does stumble for a moment, but he catches the tip of the blade, hits the ground, and he pulls an upswing and slashes her across the back, and she actually falls forward. Not fully into you, but kind of on one knee, hair in her face, standing right in front of you.
Nortia looks at Gunner and in his head says, "Good job, love." And then, like, now that the white dressed mommy is in front of her, Nortia kind of looks down at her and just gives like a smile that's not evil, but definitely like, I'm ready to kick your ass.
Okay. So that was your action, and do you have a bonus action or a movement you want to take?
No, I'm good with what I'm...
Gotcha. Okay, I will say, Nortia, if you could just remind me 2 things. 1, did you get a coin, like a copper bronze coin?
No, I did not.
The other thing I would like to remind you is that the window that Gunner left from is the room that has your quill and your notebook.
Oh, okay. You know what? Actually, I'm a liar and I am gonna move, guys.
I was like, if you're not gonna take your action, I'll give you something. But yes.
Okay. I would like to. I look down at her, and then I feel a pull back to my room.
Okay. There you go.
And Nortia will like move behind her and go, instead of going towards the stairs where it's all darkness, because that's a little spooky. Can I try to climb the bed rope that Gunner made up into my window?
Give me an acrobatics check with advantage, because Gunner is going to help you, hopefully, get into the room.
17.
17. So as Nordia, you reach out for the blanket. You pull yourself, and the knot right above your hand actually becomes unfurled, unconnected. So you're up for a moment, and then Gunner catches you by both feet, just very much assisted leap. Kind of tosses you up to the window, and you are now very much not used to jumping that high or with that much dexterity, but you are full just in the room. And you do see on the bedside table your quill and your notebook glowing.
Nordia looks at the notebook and the quill, and without thinking at all, kind of grabs them really quick and whips out the quill. So I'm ready for my next time.
As your hand touches the quill, if you could give me a wisdom saving throw.
How does a 23 sound, Caleb?
A 23 sounds really good. Sounds really good. So at this point, who is standing outside with, is it just Gunner with the lady in white?
Cal plus
Cal. Well, Cal got out before she broke into threes.
Yeah.
He
So I
should
don't know if
be
he's-
going to church.
So as you, Nordia, as you get to the quill in your notebook, you look out the window and you see, similar to the lady in black, this Bianca in white starts to glow, and you get a moment of, oh my gosh, like there's going to be some sort of explosion, something bad's about to happen. And as a flash of light hits, Gunner jumps through the window and tackles you to the floor. There's a radiant damage that burns the top, the ceiling. The two of you are safe for this moment, but the curtains are on fire, and the woman outside is not there anymore.
Nordia, it has like panic in her eyes, but she goes out loud this time instead of in his head. She says, thank you.
There's a moment of the side of his helmet actually has a scorch mark from the blast that had just happened. But as he takes off his helmet, he has a moment of realization of the position that y'all are in, and he stands up, back to the wall, and he's just like, yes, my lady, gives a salute, a bow of his head, and to end your action, motions toward the door, and he says, what's next? That takes us now to Lady M, who is downstairs.
She's right in front of me, right? Because she's stuck into the thing behind me.
The lady in red, yes.
Yes. And am I still in the circle of fire that's closing rapidly around me?
You are. And at this point, it is
Sick.
full, it is that last moment. So you have, in this moment, you have to decide, am I going to try to get out, or am I going to face this person? So it's right as the circle is about to close.
Are the flames high enough that I couldn't just step over them? Or do I get the idea that it wouldn't be that simple to leave?
This is kind of like a wall of flame situation. Not unreasonably tall. You could try to jump over or through it. But I will say, due to Lady M's history, probably wouldn't be in your wheelhouse to try to take on the fire right now.
Got it. Okay, so... Oh, that ruins my plan. Okay, I'm going to...
There is the gap, though. There is the gap if you want to try to get out. But...
Okay.
Just let you know.
But is the gap... but do I have to get around her to get to the gap?
No, at this moment. Her arm is in the board at this second. So...
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Okay. So then okay. M was feeling really confident going into this fight, and then fire happened. And so now it's a whole different ballgame for M. So her only thing now is going to be getting away from the fire. So I'm going to do my movement first, get as far from the fire as I can.
Okay.
And out of the circle.
So this is kind of strange, but could you give me a acrobatics and a perception check?
I can do both of those things.
And tell me what you get on both.
16 for acrobatics, and then for perception. 17 for perception.
Gotcha. In that moment, you move to get out of the ring, and the end of your dress gets a little singed, but you're able to step out. Very much like, oh shit, like, and you get out of there. With that perception, though, as that happens, the heat from the fire changes a little bit. At first, it smelled like burning wood, but as you step out, it starts to smell like natural, like campfire, maybe, like the heat of something. And as you start to turn around, the fire goes from a orange, yellow to a white. And you see that standing in the middle of the circle is the lady in white who had just jumped, and she pulls the lady in red out with cheating windows a little bit. You see the lady in white in front of you and the lady in red behind. But the fire has changed now, and instead of a wall of fire, it's turned into a rune circle. So the heat is different, as in, like, you feel like you can touch it, but it has more of a protection to it now. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay. Do I know Dianthus got? I will say on your 17, you're able to scope the room fairly quick, and similar to this radiant energy that is surrounding this portion of the tavern, as you look up, you're able to see the black zone that was Dianthus up until a couple seconds ago. With that too, you do see that runes are starting to take shape on the ceiling and the walls of the tavern. In this moment, some sort of ritual is taking place.
Get out of that.
I'm asking. I know. I'm asking a lot of questions, but
You're good.
You know, if I like did something to the runes, like if I like chopped at them, or if I like disruned them, would it stop it?
You can try.
I think I'm gonna try that then. So I'm just whatever the closest rune is to me on the floor. Gotcha. I'm assuming.
Gotcha. I will say, so there are two types. So as you get out of the fire, the two closest, to give you a choice in this moment, there is the glowing white rune on the floor where the flame was, and then on the wall back where before it may have been where a dartboard was, or where someone would post like guild flyers or something, but there is a almost draconic looking rune that is probably about 5 by 5 feet, taking up the entire wall. So you can do something to the one on the wall, or you can try to do something to the glowing one behind you.
So I'm gonna take my dagger and just turn around and just slash all the way through the one on the wall.
If you could give me an attack roll for that.
That's a 16.
16. Okay. As you slash the rune, right before your dagger makes contact with the material, it looks almost grainy. A hand reaches out and catches your wrist. And stepping out from the shadow, you wouldn't recognize, but if Dianthus were there, they would recognize a ivory-toned man, now way buffer than before, as if he's been fighting chains for about 100 years. Silver hair that goes past his shoulders, but very kind eyes. And as he steps through the rune, the mark on the wall falls away. And you see that on his hands are black and purple ribbons that are being strung down his body and connected to the circle of runes in the center of the room. Standing before you, Lady M, is Death.
Go home! Go back to the moon!
Night!
Why are you here?
Literally sick.
So your movement, your action, I believe you have a bonus action?
I do. I'm going to use my bonus action instinctually. I think M is just going to use her bonus action to use one of her little feety feet that she has. And I'm going to telekinetically shove one creature I can see 5 feet away from me if they pass the save, whatever. Or yeah. So I'm gonna try and shove death away from me.
Okay. And in that they resist, you said?
Yeah, they can willingly fail it, but the DC is please hold 13.
Okay. As your mind reaches out to push this figure, he lets go of your wrist. And you feel everything, because Lady M, to my recollection, has used magic before. But you're a little rusty, but you're sure you got him. And with your telekinetic force, it hits him, but he doesn't move. What does move, however, are the runes surrounding the tavern. The dark marks on the ceiling and the walls and the floor start to blur, as if you, by pushing him, have ran your hand across the runes. And with a sad smile, he looks to you and is like, I am not behind this. She wants power over me that I cannot give. Hopefully, she doesn't find what she came for. And he starts to step back and lean against the wall. You didn't push him, but he did step away from you.
Okay. Emma's just gonna say back to him, if you're not here to help, you can fuck off.
Give me an insight check.
You are so lucky Dianthus is occupied right now.
Insight, you say? That is a 13.
I will say you can't really read his face very well, but the ivory skin is perfect. No marks or anything. But at the wrist, right before the ties start, you can see an energy. And with that, you notice, or you can kind of deduce, that he doesn't have access or ability to magically interfere in this moment. It is quite literally as if he's being held back. And I do believe that is the end of your turn, Lydia, correct? In that moment, everyone is running around. Everything's crazy. Magic, blasts, explosions, new people, all sort of things are happening. The doors burst open, and 10 armored wardens come in. You know that the Court of Fallen Suns has sent 10 of their warriors to deal with the problem. And standing in the middle is and again, some of you may not recognize this person, but the bishop of the church, a very stoic woman, beautiful but old, with a power that rests in their shoulders, steps in, and you hear, "Leave nothing," as the wardens start clearing whatever they can get their hands on. Icarus, Dianthus.
Hello.
You feel a deep pain in your chest. You can't see anything. And for the first time in 100 and however many years, a single heartbeat echoes in your chest. And I don't know if y'all used a muscle you haven't used in a long time, but nothing quite hurts the way that a long paused heartbeat feels. You take 2 damage as this single moment of life fills your chest. And you open your eyes, and the casing that you had put your armor on is now filled with Dianthus. You are standing in the suit of armor that you were presented with 100 years ago. In one hand, you have the blade that you took from Death. In the other, you have the blade that you took from Cal. And as you fall forward, you look up and you see 3 people. You see Bianca in black with 2 dark shades in her hands, lunging out at the other two people. You see Cal, at this point defenseless, standing in front of Emeris's bed, who is back to their adult form. And Cal, like, very much like, what am I supposed to do in this moment, has his arms against the bed as Bianca is about to throw out some form of necrotic energy, you can assume. And it is your turn. But somehow, in the jump from the teleportation that this Bianca did, it brought you back to your suit of armor.
So I am at the church, physically?
Yes.
This is interesting. Do I have my magic right now?
You do.
I would like to try and cast command on Bianca.
Okay.
Which is gonna be wisdom save on her? Yes, she has to beat 13.
What do you command?
A halt.
She does fail the check. As the energy starts to leave, there's a moment of almost very anime, right? Like Path of Flowing Rock. Like the energy starts to leave her hands, and she is frozen. And except for her head, she's able to turn at you, and she is halted.
Obviously I'm gonna go walk to be in front of Cal. I'm gonna keep my eyes on her, hold out his sword back to him so he can take it, since I got mine. And I'm just gonna, again, sword to her neck, repeat. Why are you here?
I will say, because you have her halted in this moment, you see in her eyes, like, trying to get out of this, and then a bit of resignation. I understand that you don't know why he chose you. I understand that you can't comprehend the level of severity that your life holds. You are a mistake. I was initially sent to rectify that mistake. But sometimes mistakes provide opportunity. And at that point, she regains her faculties. And there's more to it, but that's all you get.
This is a lot of information. He, I think, just over his shoulder to Cal, get out.
Give me a persuasion check.
Natural 20.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Let me... In that moment, as you're telling Cal to get out, for the first time since you have known Cal, and you've known him a long time,
Yes.
The walls of your cave glow, and for a second it is just you, Cal, and Emeris. And you realize that this is in your mind for a second. And Cal looks a lot less scared than he did before. And as he kind of baseball twirls his blade in his hand, it's regained its blue. He, on a nat 20, I will say, he points the blade to your chest to reveal the glowing deep purple that is coming from the mark on your chest. That if you weren't wearing your armor, you could see clearly, but the light just vaguely, very narrowly shines through the top. And he says, I have healed to my ability, Yarrow's brother. We need to get back to the others. Can you do this again?
You need to get back to the others.
All right. As he turns, Icarus, you've used your action, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Your command. Do you have a bonus action you'd like to use?
I do not. None that I would use right now.
Gotcha. Cal gives you a very side-eye, mischievous smirk, takes out a coin, puts it in your hand, and he says, "This is really dumb." And he goes and tackles Bianca. And in that
Idiot!
In that moment, Dianthus, it is just you and Emrys standing in the room, who looks mostly better. This is the most healed you have seen them up to this point. But in the tackle that happens, you realize that standing behind you and on the wall behind where your armor was, there is a portal of sense, and you can actually see the tavern outside of the spot of darkness that everyone else sees. There is a temporary portal that Cal has tackled Bianca through, and you see them lying on the second floor of the tavern.
Idiot. 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 That's the only thing I'm fucking thinking right now. He's an idiot.
As he turns around, he's like, "You have about 5 seconds," and the telepathic link drops, and the portal starts to close, leading into the tavern.
Can I move before my turn ends?
Yeah, you can move.
I'm going to look at Emrys, stay put, and I'm going to go through that fucking portal.
Give me
This idiot.
an acrobatics.
Oh, fuck, yeah. 14.
Okay. So I will say your passive perception, you're able to realize that Emrys is out cold.
Great.
Very
Perfect.
exhausted. Because up until about 10 minutes, well, 3 minutes ago, he was a baby. And now he's back into his original grown man form. And so Dianthus, as you run, you bolt into the closing portal. You actually, you said it was a 13?
14.
14. Cal had tackled Bianca, and the two of them were lying on the floor of the upper deck of the tavern. Cal is slow to get up. Bianca stands, and you trip, and the two of you fall from the second floor of the tavern. Everyone else sees the darkness dissipate, and you see Dianthus and Bianca in black falling from what looks to be the ceiling in this moment. Dianthus, I do believe that is your turn.
That is, what an entrance, huh?
You are now sprawled in the middle, just outside of the ring of light that is being cast by the other two Biancas, and everyone else that is in the tavern is able to see Dianthus in this moment. That brings us to Red Bianca, who has a little, not quite a fireball, not full fireball, not going to do that to you guys, but a little golf ball size flame that they throw at Lady M. There's a 17 hit.
Yes.
For 3 damage. It is 3 fire damage.
Sick. Great.
But that is the only thing they are able to do, because then Red Bianca starts to form a inner circle to this ritual and grabs the hand of White Bianca, who is also in the middle of the circle, and you can see that they start chanting something in a language that none of you know, I think. Fantastic. Yara, we are back to you.
So I presume I am seeing all that go down.
Mm-hmm.
The whatever they're starting their ritual thing. So I think he's going to try and like conjure up some other sort of magic in his hands. Presuming they're within 90 feet of me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I think it's kind of the same thing of like I don't know exactly what they're trying to do, but I feel like it should be stopped. And try to cast chromatic orb at one of them in the circle.
Chromatic orb, what does that do exactly? Just for
it's
everyone.
Like so you choose whatever you want it to be, so choose between like if it's gonna be like fire, lightning, poison, thunder, and then it's just like a orb of energy that you kind of like throw at someone, basically.
Okay, yeah.
But I understand.
Cool. Oh, fantastic. Okay. That does hit. Which one were you aiming for?
Is one of them closer than the other?
They're pretty much equidistant. There's Bianca Red and Bianca White.
They're red.
Gotcha. Okay. So you said it was a 23 to hit, right?
38. Yes. That's
Gotcha.
38. So that's 7 points, and I'm gonna do acid damage for that one.
Nice. And Yarrow, as this orb shoots out of your hands, what does this look like as far as color, aesthetic, like what happens in this moment?
So I think it's like he's not even sure if he's gonna be able to do it. He's just like, okay, well, I did something. I'm gonna try to get something else happening. And it's just kind of like these like yellows and white like wisps, I think, of just like acid that kind of pulling out towards her.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Dianthus, in this moment, you're able to see that the horns of Yarrow are actually glowing the respective colors of the two moons.
Oh.
And as this acid, this green, the two moons, Obus and Velia. Velia is the greener tinted moon, so that side glows a little more. And as the orb grows and shoots out, it hits the circle, and for a moment you think, Yarrow, that your spell wasn't strong enough. But as the orb pushes against the dome of this circle, a drop of acid goes through, and you're like, well, shucks. But it hits the white dress of Bianca, and a very aggressive, acidic explosion spreads from her chest, and she's visibly shaken up by that. Very nice. It was very much a moment of like, is this going to work? Is this going to work? Crap. It worked. Fantastic.
Right.
So now, actually, Nortia reminding me of the slashing damage. White Bianca actually looks real messed up right now because the front of her, she has marks of acidic burns, and on her back is a big slash. I will say you can move at this time.
I think maybe like I don't actually. Is there anyone who like needs help specifically? Is everyone?
I'm not gonna admit if I need
on
help.
the.
Nortia's in a room, so you can't see her either.
Okay, I'll just head towards Dianthus and Cal because you both have swords. That seems like
Okay.
logically.
You
like,
are
you know,
going to get yelled at, but go for it.
As you go forward, Yarrow, I will remind you that you're being kind of held back by Gon Kui.
Oh yeah.
And so in that moment where she thinks that you're going towards the middle, she kind of pushes back on you a little bit. But in seeing that you're going towards Dianthus and Cal, she actually takes her staff and gives you a playful nudge in their direction. And you do get guidance for your next action. A D4 to your next roll.
Okay.
And you don't have to use it. It's similar to bardic inspiration. So yeah, you're able to move close to Dianthus and Cal, who at this point are standing not behind, but like closer to you. But Black Bianca is about to walk into the circle that the other two Biancas are. At this moment, Dianthus, Bianca Black, you just tripped into them, throwing them to the floor. That was a bunch of stuff that just happened real quick, back to back. She is going to grab you by the armor on your chest and give a little attack. Does an 18 hit?
Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't put my armor on. 1 second. Yeah, it's gonna hit.
Gotcha. A single nail from Bianca's finger meets the bottom of your chin, and a burn hits your neck for 2 damage. And it's very, very reminiscent to your moment on the moon. And as she does this, and before you're able to retaliate, she steps backwards into the circle to join the other two visuals of her. Nortia, it is now your turn.
To be reminded of the layout, I am upstairs, correct?
Correct.
Like floor plan wise, like would my room be directly above the like bar area?
Oh,
So,
don't laugh at me, Icarus.
Like I know what you are gonna want to do. And it's
so your room is, so you have the doors, right? The doors to get into the bar. On one side is the actual bar itself.
Okay.
Your room is directly above it. I don't know what
that's hot.
I don't know what you're
Let's
doing,
hear
but
it.
yes.
So first off, Nortia in danger usually feels extremely calm. Her heart never races, and in this moment, she notes in her head how inconvenient it is that her heart is racing and she cannot pin down why. When he asks her what's next, she looks at the burning window, and in Nortia's head, she doesn't know that the darkness that was surrounding them is gone. And she looks down at the floor, and then she looks back up at Gunnar, and she says, "How likely would it be that you could smash right through that?"
Madam, this is very reckless. And as he's saying this, looks at you and just shaking his head the entire time, puts his blade back. He puts his arm delicately around your waist, and with the other, there's a, not magical, but a marshal's prowess is sometimes shown in just the strength of his hand. He punches straight down, the floor gives way, and the two of you fall. And he rolled a nat 20 on the roll, so the two of you fall, superhero landing. Nortia kind of cradled on his leg on the ground floor, right in front of where the bar is. And you are just outside the circle. And some of you haven't seen Gunnar yet, so this is probably a little strange for y'all. But Nortia, your idea in a moment of, fear and uncertainty provided a quick, free slide down to the rest of the action. So you are, and that will be Gunnar's action. But there you go.
Her heart is racing faster, and she is so confused. Poor little Nortia. But she, when they land, sees the three in the circle, and somewhat instinctually, even though she's never done this before, she reaches for her quill and she blows on the end of like the tip, and like ink turns into this glowing like aura of like purple and greens, and she's going to cast Mind Sliver on big bad scary black dressed Bianca.
Okay.
14 is the save intelligence.
Okay, so she did pass the save. Is it half damage if she passes, or is it?
It was a good try.
It was a good try.
So I'll
Nortia
say.
definitely is still thrown off from being in this hunky man's arms.
So I will say in this moment with that, Nortia, you're still kind of rested on his knee. As the quill comes out, the ink shoots towards Black Bianca. There's a moment where you think it's going to hit her because she has just stepped back away from Dianthus, but with a very dismissive hand, splices the jet of ink, and it hits two of the cultists. And in a sense of just insanity, these two run out just mindlessly into the street. And yeah, that is what the spell does. It doesn't do anything to Bianca, but some of the cultists have started to get a little freaked out and they're running around.
And then as my bonus action, I'm going to equip that dagger that Mr. Mans gave me. And Nordia pulls it from the strap on her satchel that's on her thigh, and she like twists it around in her fingers, and she goes, I know this isn't why you gave it to me, and at some point you are going to have to explain that. And that's where I'd like to end my turn, graciously.
I like that. So I will say Gunnar is right after you in initiative. He did take his action, but for the sake of flavor, he's going to grab the dagger and at this point standing you up and, standing, says, some things are only as special as their presentation. And he throws the dagger, looking into your eyes across the room, and it hits Bianca White square in the chest, and she falls down, not dead, but she is knocked prone just from the hit of the dagger that has glown the same color of the spell that you just cast. And that is the end of your turn, the end of Gunnar's turn.
Now Sabrina's knocked prone. BRB, guys.
Bianca White was poisoned from the acid that they had taken earlier. So they are now making death saving throws. And I know that sounds a little weird coming from a level 1 monster, but I think it'll be rewarding. That being said, Bianca White is out for the moment. For whoever is in the area, in the center of the 3 Biancas, Death, that was talking to Lady M moments ago, is reappeared. And this time, before he was standing mostly free with braces around his wrists and his ankles, but now it is across his chest, around his neck. He has a blindfold. They've started to the 2 that are standing have pulled knives and are readying to slay this man. The
fuck?
The wardens and the cultists that were fighting up to this point, most of them have been zapped by different levels of necrotic and radiant and fire, almost solar flares that are reaching out of the circle. It's almost as if you need a certain level of arcane resistance to oppose the energy that's happening right now. Most of the wardens that were inside are either just suits of armor or knocked out cold, and most of the cultists have fled. In this moment, the 2 Biancas look over to Bianca in white, and the one in red and the one in black look at each other. And as they start to fuse, the Bianca in white turns into glitter. And the Bianca is back to the way she was before. The daggers have turned into a short sword, and the blade plunges into Death's chest. And we're going to take a break.
Do not kill my man. I swear to God, Caleb.
This is mean.
I swear to God, Caleb, where's that red light? You deserve it right now.
Oh, you know what? It is appropriate time for the red light.
Oh, hey, long time no see. It's Icarus again. Today, we just had a couple shoutouts we wanted to give. The first one being for the person responsible for our theme song, which played at the beginning of the episode and which is playing right now. Emily McAnally is phenomenal. She did an incredible job bringing to life a song that really encapsulates the vibes of our campaign. So if you are in need of a custom theme song from anything between your D&D campaign or a video game, please consider checking her out. She's an angel to work with. We worked through Fiverr with her, which you can find her there at Emily McNally 5. That is Emily MCNALLY, the number 5. We also wanted to shout out Epidemic Sound, which is a subscription service that I use personally in my day-to-day job, work life, and for this campaign. All sound effects and musical chords that are not the theme song came from Epidemic Sound.
Now, we are not sponsored by them. I simply want to give a shout out and give credit where it was due. There's a ton of music and sound effects available on that site for editors like me, so the atmosphere of these scenes would be a lot more boring without all of those additional little add-ins. All right, that was it. Let's get back to it. Well, fuck.
Y'all having fun?
If you kill Death, I cannot be held responsible for what Dianthus is about to do.
We will see. We will see. I think we are ready to get back into it.
So, Dianthus, at this moment, there's a familiar tingle to the back of your neck as you sense, even before you see it, Bianca's hands gnarled into a claw reach out at you. I need you to give me a dexterity saving throw.
Happily. That's an 18.
Okay. So, Dianthus, as this happens, you are brought back 100 years or so to a moment on the moon where you replay this in your head over and over and over again. And as this familiar lunge happens, you're able to sweep Bianca's leg, and in a moment of disbelief, it's very cartoonish. The boom, lands on her back.
But Bianca, for a moment, looks scared of you. And you look over and you see Death with the blade that is in his chest being propped up. And he looks to you, and for a moment you think that the life is leaving his eyes, but he actually turns into the moon dust that Dianthus would be familiar with, and falls to the ground, and you hear almost a sigh of relief.
Above the tavern, all of you see these 3 ribbons of light.
The light ribbon now dissipates, and now is just the red and the black. Dianthus, as this happens, you hear a very firm voice in the back of your head. You can't let them finish. I can't have what I do be interrupted. And Death is gone from that space. The Biancas remain, and as you are looking at them in this moment, you think they're starting to glow a little brighter. Dianthus, what do you do?
Like, don't let them finish, like, Bianca, or don't let the party finish her, like, kill her?
Don't let them, meaning Bianca.
Well, she's on the ground, right?
Yes. I will say her physical form, yes, is not prone, but there is an astral projection standing, and more of to show that the ritual is going. But yes, her physical form is not prone.
Can I roll something to see if I can figure out more thoroughly how to properly interrupt this? Because I tried killing her before and it didn't work, so I don't think killing her now is going to do it.
Okay, yeah. You can give me an either investigation. Yeah, give me an investigation check.
13.
Okay. To your knowledge, you're looking around. Lady M disrupted the runes, the dark runes that were on the walls and floors and stuff. It looked like what they were initially trying to do was interrupted because they weren't able to fully kill Death. However, these 2 physical corporeal forms in front of you, or the physical form that was 2 people standing in front of you, should be dealt with. Whether that means killing or figuring something else out. With 13, that's all you can really gather. You do get the sense that when you fought her before, she felt stronger.
So she's weaker. She's weaker now?
At least in the way that the battle is going, in the way that she is presenting herself.
I would like to approach her if she is prone, on the ground, whatever. I'm going to try and stab her with my sword.
Okay.
Kind of right through the throat, since she decided to fuck up my throat.
Okay, go for it.
Natural 20.
Natural 20?
Natural 20.
Well, there you go. Okay, so with that, it's with your blade, correct? The sword that you got from
That death gave me. Yep.
that death gave you. What does it look like as you stab Bianca?
He hasn't had magic before this to his memory, so instinctual more than anything that he is going to cast. This is for flavor. The light cantrip that he has on the blade as it comes down. He's gonna kind of step over. I think if she is on the ground, he will stand over her directly, look down, and before bringing the sword down, say, "The only mistake made with me was the fact that I did not do this to you the first time." And then he will bring the sword down.
Dianthus, can you roll damage for me?
Absolutely.
How about
That is
this?
8 total.
8 total.
8 total.
On a nat 20?
Oh, then that would be, what, 16? 16 plus 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24?
A 24. Is there any effect, or is this just piercing?
This is just piercing. Or,
Okay.
what was my longsword slashing?
Dianthus, as your blade makes purchase, there's a cosmic struggle that you feel. Earlier in this exchange, you had felt a necrotic energy in your hand, and this magic ability that has been coming back to you has felt out of practice. It's felt like you're trying to run with new legs. But in this moment, as Bianca's magic meets your blade, you see that she has to make a choice. Her hands are both palmed down towards the ground, trying to hold the circle in place. But with that hit, she has to make the choice of, do I die in this moment and complete this ritual, or do I cease what I'm doing and give myself like a little bit more of a shot? And they can't see your eyes, but your face and your tone and your stance says it all. The circle starts to break, and the ribbons of light above you start to flail, almost like a power cord that's just been yanked from the socket. And the circle is gone, but Bianca stands back up, cupping her neck that is just, blood running down. And she looks real messed up and real pissed. However, as the seal breaks, the individuals that had fallen, the wardens and the cultists, all rise up with a skeletal energy. No strength necessarily, almost zombie-esque. And they all start walking towards you. You have messed up the ritual, but you're not quite done yet. Yara, what would you like to do at this moment?
You said there was like a chandelier or something that was like the rope knife.
A good callback. No one had brought that up. Yes, there is. So near the bar, there is a very standard practice, rope around a peg that holds the chandelier. There was a little like cosmetic damage to it, but it's still, provides the same physics purpose.
Could I think he was like, he was on his way over towards Dianthus and Cal, and then pauses, looks around for something he can do to help, and then is gonna I'd like to try, untie it if it's where she is, or drop it on one of the bad people.
Gotcha. So are you like physically untying it, or are you using some sort of spell, or how do you think, Yara?
I think probably just trying to either hand untie it, or I have like a dagger.
Give me, I'll say a sleight of hand, just to say, because it's not too complicated.
So I was gonna say I have a -1, so that's 15, so that's 14.
14, okay. So as you get over there with your dagger or your hand, whichever you prefer, you're about to start untying this.
Dagger.
Gonkui puts a hand on your shoulder because she's still standing there, and it is her bar. But as you start to mess with it, she looks around at the scorch marks and everything, and there's just a moment of like, might as well. And then
Help me vandalize your own bar.
Then you do successfully alter this. So tell me what that looks like.
Say maybe he started to try and tie it, and if it wasn't working fast enough, then took out the dagger and was trying to just cutting it, getting it as quick as possible to fall, help in some way.
As you start to untie it, you have that moment of like, fuck it. You cut the rope. The peg that is connecting to the pillar actually splinters, and the entire pillar kind of like explodes as the rope goes up. The chandelier falls, and Dianthus standing right there. If y'all can give me dex saves as the chandelier crashes down on Bianca. What was that, Dianthus?
5.
Have you used your inspiration yet?
Do I have inspiration?
Everybody got inspiration.
You do.
2.
So Dianthus fails. Bianca and Dianthus, however, are hit. And I would say because of your roll, Bianca takes the brunt of the hit, but the panel on the floor does break through, and Dianthus, you and Bianca fall into the water beneath the tavern. Yarrow, I do think that's your turn, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Nortia.
Nortia was still making direct eye contact with Gunnar until she heard the crash of a chandelier.
So, Nortia looks around and realizes that one of the people just fell through the ground. Somebody that she does not know at all, but is down there with a bad person. Could I check to see if, like, I don't know, Bestie's drowning or...
I would say, based off of the layout of the tavern, it would be difficult to tell from this angle, like, you know, if they're drowning or not. But Nortia would know the layout of the tipsy scale well enough to know that you probably need to get over there.
Nortia turns to Gunnar, takes off her satchel and hands it to him, says, "Thanks for the ride," and then dives after Dianthus.
Okay. At this point, Dianthus, could I get a Constitution saving throw?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sabrina, can Nortia give me a Strength saving throw?
Yes, she can.
I got a 13.
I got a 19.
Okay. So, for flavor, I'll say that, Dianthus, you felt that moment right before you would necessarily be ripping with consciousness. You feel a rather light but determined pull as Nortia, you get a hand around, I would say probably just under the nook of Dianthus's arm and their neck, and you're able to pull them up, and the two of you are fine. Chaos still ensues, but you are not drowning, and Nortia, you helped them in a very rough situation.
I want to remind, I don't know who you are. We have never met before. This moment. Yeah.
Nortia looks at you, and realizes, you know, she might be saving a stranger, but also she is uncomfortably close to a stranger. And she smiles and she says, "Looked like you needed some help. I don't know exactly why you're down here, but it looks like you needed some help."
Who are you?
Nortia, while holding you, kind of like is brushing off her hand and is like, "Nortia Thornwood," and presents it to you.
Dianthus is not going to shake your hand. Way too preoccupied with everything else happening. They don't shove you away like they normally would when it comes to people they don't know who are, again, uncomfortably close to them. knowing that Bianca's still down there to their knowledge, they're probably actually gonna grab your arm and kind of start pulling you both towards the edge, the closest edge to out of the water. Thanks.
No problem. Anytime.
I'm gonna try and pull us out of the water then, if we can.
Okay. I would say with Nordia strength saving throw, Constitution save, kind of everything that's going on. This part of the tavern is meant to integrate different types of performances. The reason you fell through isn't because the floor was just dangerously placed over water. It's sometimes there are shows where the stage opens up and aquatic members of D'aowVern come and give different performances and stuff. So I would say pretty obviously you would be able to see the ladder. It's not, it's not something that they can play around with when it comes to patron safety. So yeah, you're able to get to the ladder. Can I have both of you give me perception checks?
Absolutely. 18?
11.
Neither of you see anything out of the ordinary as you get up the ladder. Yarrow, though, you're not there. You're not in the water. You're not dealing with what these two are dealing with. But you think you hear a dark, gruff chuckle.
Oh.
Excuse me?
Sorry?
Repartee, s'il vous plaît.
And you start to get out of the water.
Nordia, as soon as she gets up onto stable-ish ground, looks at you, Dianthus, and says, "Are you okay? Do you need help?"
Why do you care?
Because you're hurt. Do I have to have a reason to care?
I'm fine.
I believe you. Is she dead?
Yeah, can I look back at the water and see if she's still floating down there?
Dianthus, I would say with the check that you just gave me, you look back at the water, and, there's pieces of broken wood and glass. A slight disturbance, it had just been messed with. Y'all just swam through it. And moments pass. You're ready, but there are no bubbles. No one comes from the water. And you are made painfully aware of the tavern and all of the broken furniture and the disgruntled people that look to you, Dianthus, as this man who, for some reason, lives in the basement of Maldeo. You did this. With Yarrow's help.
The worst part is he agrees with them.
Oh, that hurt.
And for a moment, you are taken back to the moon of Obus, the plot of land that you came up from. And I'm assuming no one can see your eyes in this moment.
Right. Yes.
But there is a dark, the opposite of a glow, a swallowing of the light around your face, as for a moment you see Bianca and Death on the surface of the moon, this time both wrapped in coils and lunging at each other, but they're just far enough away to where neither can get to the other person, but they're yelling at each other. And you do feel a light burn on your chest from your mark that is just starting to die down. and combat is over.
Dianthus, as things appear to be resolving, you realize that the two of you, Nordia and Dianthus, as you get out of the water, a tall stranger approaches, satchel in hand. Doesn't necessarily look at you, Dianthus. You feel the question posed towards you of, what the hell just happened? Who was she?
What a wonderful question, Dianthus. What are we doing here?
You all were here for the festival. Remember that? That's why you were here.
Nordia takes her satchel from Gunnar and removes her notebook and starts furiously writing things down. And she looks up to this stranger that she just pulled out of the water. We're asking what happened.
Her name is Bianca. I've met her once before, and it went just as well as it did this time. Thought I took care of her. Clearly I did not. I don't know why
What
she
do you
got
mean?
here. I don't know how she got here. She should still be up there, but she was here. I don't understand.
Up there?
He will stand up and simply point up at the dark moon in the sky.
You're serious?
When am I not?
Nordia, while this conversation is going on, slowly walks over. As she looks up and she says, "What do you mean she's not taken care of? We watched her die."
I watched her die before too, and then she showed up in the center of the room.
I do think that whatever this is, it's much larger than any of us. I believe we will have to work together and looks up and down at you if we want to get anything solved.
Question for me. Did I see the other cultists when they were in this room, DM, or was I too focused on Big Mommy Red?
So let's think of what Dianthus just went through. Top
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Top floor, you were brought into a dark kind of pocket dimension for a second, back to your cave, came back real quick, tackled into the main level, and then saw the Bianca's fuse, and I would say yeah. So in that moment, like, I know that a lot of combat is very like self-focused, but like out of character, like there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, think the chairs were being thrown, people were fighting, you hear like slashes, people are being blown up, all sorts of stuff. So Dianthus, you would have even like with a passive perception would have been able to pick up like there were cultists here, there were wardens here, there were drunks here, and there were you guys. Yarrow, Cal steps out from behind a pillar. At this point, he hasn't really said anything. He went to go check on Gunnar, who had been slashed in the scuffle, and you notice that at this point Gunnar's wounds have started to heal a little bit, and Cal puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "I know you were nervous about everything. This was a big day for you. I'm sorry that Bianca came down and did all that crap, but look at the stage. Can you give me a Arcana check, Yarrow?"
That's a 19 plus 5. What's that?
Fantastic. As everyone's talking, right, Yarrow, I imagine, is pretty flustered by everything that just happened.
Pacing back and forth, like listening, but mostly just like freaked out.
For those of you who haven't seen the moon tower that Yarrow resides in, a lot of the memories and the exchange of everything that happened here starts to kind of materialize in like a prestidigitated sense. Yarrow, the threads of everything start to be pulled together, and you see with that Arcana check a replay of everything. You're able to look at portions of the room and see the route that each of your new friends took. So Dianthus going upstairs yeeting, come back, Nordia, all that sort of thing. And in your hand, there is a small marble of chronomatic energy that you get the understanding that you'll be able to revisit this later. Unbeknownst at this point to the rest of the party. But it kind of gives you a clip out, for lack of a better word, of everything that just happened.
Okay, so can Cal see that as well, or is it just...
Cal, you get the idea that Cal senses that you have some sort of magic that can see that. Like, he isn't seeing the same thing, though. It's more of like he gave you, in that moment, he gave you like a bardic inspiration to check the area, and you were able to do it on your own. And so there's a moment of like, nice. And then he goes back to check with everyone else.
Right.
Goes to Gunner, Gonqui, everybody.
Hi.
What's up?
Also ask, because last he checked, Cal had his brother, so he's probably also going to ask, be like, where, you were supposed to be watching Eminus? Is there a reason that...
As you ask the question, you actually are able to see Emrys in each of his stages throughout the combat. He started off like
never mind.
3-year-old. You actually see, it's almost like a trail of light. You're actually, for a brief moment, able to see Emrys asleep at the church in what is farther than your usual sight, and then that fades. And so you, in a way that you've never been able to before, are able to sense your brother is okay. In that moment, Cal, Gunner, and Gonqui approach the four of you. Each of them respectively pulls one of you aside and was like, hey, they're not going to understand any of this. Y'all get out of here. Cal tells you that he will send Gunner to the church to talk with you guys, to sort this all out. And Gonqui has started mending the furniture and stuff, and with the staff that she has, just like, don't worry, we got this. Now y'all get out of here. And as this happens, you start to hear the heavy footsteps of the wardens approaching the tavern.
Yarrow, you're with me.
Yeah, cool.
I do not care where you go. You're welcome at my place, it doesn't matter. And you, looking at Nordia, I do not know you, but the church is open to all.
Thank you.
So Dianthus and Yara leave together. Nordia and Em, what do you do in this moment?
I do think we make quite a good team, so...
I think we do. Let me make you tea. Come back to the shop.
Sounds good. And she looks at Lady M, and then for a brief second in confusion looks at Gunner, and then starts to head out with Lady M.
Oh, did you want him to come along? He's invited.
Nordia, it looks very flustered and confused, and she smiles at you and she says, he was given a task, and it was not with me, so he owes me nothing, so let's go.
Nordia, can you give us a deception check? Just because there are a couple people in the room and I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Let's go with the orange ones. I haven't rolled that today. Oh, cool! Fuck you, orange one. It was not one.
So I want to show you. I'm taking a picture of this. I'm going to put it in the message. But the other people all rolled a perception check or insight check. Sorry, for this. The only one to also get a nat 1 was Gunner. So literally everyone in the room picks up on what's happening right now, except for this absolute like monster of a man who's just like. At this point, he's helping, set the bar and everything. It's actually happening pretty quick because Gonqui seems to have an ability to, fix things really well. But Gunner is completely oblivious. Lady M and Cal share that look of like, okay. Each of you go off into your respective pairs. I will say that is where we will end tonight's session. From here, each of you are going to have some choices. The first 2 episodes of this were very much hand-holdy, very railroady. But there's going to be a lot of aftermath and brutal stuff to come up from this. I will say, if you have any questions or anything, feedback, to let me know. But you do get to level 2 based off of that encounter. I did give... I gave y'all a very tough first encounter. But I wanted something that was narratively driven. And so I like to play with fire. And so we did.
All right, that's going to be where we end tonight's session. Thank you all for joining us, strangers and friends. Join us next week for more adventures with our party.